I can live without that.
You know, my whole life I was holding a secret inside that I was afraid to talk to people about because I felt like I wouldn't be accepted if people knew. I felt like I would get made fun of, I'd be embarrassed, I'd be less than a man. And I was being sexually abused and raped. Yes. It was the babysitter's son. I'm 5, I don't really know what's happening. I know something's wrong. There's nothing when you're 5, when you get raped by a man, there's no hotline that says, here's what to do, here's who to call. There's no question you tell your parents. You're not told how to talk to your parents about that. You're just not told that you can talk about it. And as a straight white male, it was like the worst thing that could have happened. I remember feeling like I always had to defend myself in sports, in school. If anyone picked on me, if anyone said I was stupid, in sports, if anyone tried to abuse me in any way physically, it was like I had to come back with dominance to show that no one could ever be more man than me. And I think it was, 4 years ago, I finally started to open up about this. It was terrifying to open up about it. It was terrifying to tell my family, friends, because I thought no one was going to look at me the same way again. And as terrifying as it was, it brought me this unbelievable sense of freedom and peace that I've never felt in my life. And, it's horrible no matter who it's to, man, woman, gender nonconforming, it's horrible no matter who it's done to. But we don't really hear, I never heard an example of anyone who's come out, let alone the archetype of the white male jock. So someone that looks like me, who's come out and said, this is what's happened. And yet, 1 in 6 of the guys that I played football with, out of 100 players on my team, probably happened in some way. So I think you probably know a lot of the statistics better.
1 in 6 boys are raped.
Men have been sexually abused.
In some way.
In some way, yeah.
1 in 6 between the age of 0 and 18, and girls are 1 out of 4 at the same time.
Exactly. I didn't think this happened to a lot of boys, right? I just thought it was just me. And so I was the one who was wrong and I was bad because of it. And the more I'm talking about this and opening up now through speaking about it, writing about it, I'm getting hundreds of essays of men who are telling me, this is what happened to me when I was 9. This is what happened to me when I was 6. I've been married for 25 years, my wife doesn't know. Whether it's sexual abuse or something else that men are ashamed of, I think it's part of the thing that conditions men to protect themselves or to do things to hurt other people. Mm-hmm. And so when I was in college, I never had a sip of alcohol because I wanted to be fully conscious and aware of the decisions I made, but I wanted to be in full ownership of my communication and my actions. For me, I was so conscious of just not wanting to hurt people. It was never my intention to want to hurt people because I was hurt.
So I appreciate so much you sharing that. So, before starting A Call to Men, I was a social worker. I was director of an alcohol and drug treatment program. And right about the age you said, right around the age of 30 or so, men in that program would disclose for the first time that they were sexually assaulted as a boy. And the way they coped with it was through alcohol and drug addiction. And so they're here now trying to, get and maintain abstinence from alcohol and drugs, and they are disclosing for the first time what happened to them. So many men take different paths to cover up all the feelings and everything that they're experiencing as a result of that.
Here's something else that I noticed until I noticed 4 years ago is that I was resenting everyone else around me. And I was resenting myself because I wasn't allowed to express who I was. I felt like I wasn't able to say, this is how I feel, this is what I've gone through, because I didn't think anyone would accept it. And I thought they would just push me away. So I was always living in a sense of defensiveness towards everyone. So I try to have compassion for people that are as defensive and guarded like I was, and still am, and still working on it every single day.
And what's interesting, though, is I think something good to point out quickly is our experience, and 2 out of 6, is different. It allows us to be empathetic, but it's different than that of women. As a man, how this has affected me in the world in terms of progressing, in terms of being someone with power or not, someone not giving me a job because all those things. As a man, I have the privilege of that not defining me and affecting me in the same ways, certainly emotionally in that way, but as what women have to deal with and then have a whole gender
They're facing it
freedom,
all the time.
Facing it all the time, still as adults.
This senior